Just to the right of me on your screen here, you'll see Logan Federico. She was a 22-year-old college student from North Carolina who wanted to be a teacher in the future. Just a few months ago in May, she was visiting friends in Columbia, South Carolina, when the other individual on the screen, Alexander Dicki, broke into the house she was staying at and murdered her. Now, Alexander had been arrested 39 times in the state of North Carolina over the last 15 years, 25 of which arrests were for violent felony crimes that cumulatively should have had him locked away in prison for the rest of his life and beyond. Somehow, instead, he's free, walking around in a completely other state, breaking into houses and murdering young women. Why does this keep happening? Why do we allow this to keep happening, and when will it end? Now, the House Judiciary Committee held a field hearing in Charlotte, North Carolina to address the victims of violent crime, where Steve Federico, the father of Logan, gave an impassioned testimony grilling the local left-wing leaders whose soft-on-crime policies allowed deranged freaks like Dicki here back out on the streets to continue terrorizing American citizens, innocent American citizens, when their lengthy rap sheets should have had them locked away forever. Now, before he gave his testimony, Logan, the victim, was actually misidentified by one of the Democrat representatives, Deborah Ross, who referred to her as Irina Zarutska, the other young woman who was murdered just a few weeks ago by another career criminal in a random act of senseless violence that was actually an anti-white hate crime. Unbelievable. It seems that the Democrats' soft-on-crime policies are creating so many of these innocent victims that they can't even keep track of them. They can't even properly identify them when the grieving father is standing right in front of them. Despicable. These people have absolutely no shame, and they'll continue supporting these policies. They'll continue supporting letting these violent criminals who cannot be rehabilitated, who cannot find restitution, who cannot merge with civilized, polite, peaceful society back out on the streets. These people aren't going to change. We simply have to stop them. They will not stop until they are stopped. Anyways, we're going to watch that testimony and talk about it. But before we do, this is Trending Politics, and my name is Blake Cresses. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that bell to stay up to date with all political news. We're going to hop right in and check out this video.
Federico.
First, I want to make sure you all knew my daughter. My daughter was Logan Federico. Okay?
Yes.
Logan Federico. She was 22, visiting friends at the University of South Carolina. How many of y'all have kids? I'm just curious. Here's what I need you to do. When I tell you this story, think about your kids. Think about your child coming home from a night out with their friends, laying down, going to sleep, feeling somebody come in the room and wake them, and drag her out of bed, naked, forced on her knees, with her hands over her head, begging for her life, begging for her hero, her father, me, that couldn't be there. She was 5'3". She weighed 115 pounds. Bang! Dead. Gone. Why? Because Alexander Dicki, who was arrested 39 goddamn times, 25 felonies, was on the street. How about that? How good are we doing for our family? How good are you doing for your kids? He should have been in jail for over 140 years for all the crimes he committed. You know how much time he spent in prison? A little over 600 days in 10 years. He's only 30 years old. He was committing 2.65 crimes a year since he was 15 years old, but nobody could figure out that he couldn't be rehabilitated. Well, you'd have to put him in prison to see if he could be rehabilitated. Isn't that the idea of prison? But no, my daughter wanted to be a teacher. She finally figured it out 2 weeks before She was executed. And I haven't heard a damn word from Byron Gibson in South Carolina. Not one word. 4 months, no communication. His biggest concern was that he was pissed off about my interview and how I made him look on the Fox News channel with Trey Gowdy. How pathetic is that? That we're letting our 22-year-old kid visiting friends. It's all she ever wanted to do was visit friends. And she literally was executed while on her knees begging for her life. Her name's Logan Federico, not Irina. And you will not forget her. I promise you. You will be sick and tired of my face and my voice until this gets fixed. I will fight until my last breath for my daughter. You need to fight for the rest of our children, the rest of the innocents, and stop protecting the people that keep taking them from us. Please. You have the power. We put you in the power to do what you have to do. We're asking you, we're begging you all to stop this. 39 crimes in 10 years, 25 felonies. Can anybody here explain to me, well, how possibly he could be on the street? Possibly be on the street. How is it possible? I could sit down in a room and I could explain the whole process of how it failed, how South Carolina failed, Logan, okay? How lack of communication. What y'all did, you woke up a beast and you pissed off the wrong daddy. Because I'm going to put it out there. And I'm not going to be quiet until somebody helps. Logan deserves to be heard. Everyone on this panel deserves to be heard. And we will. Trust me. My daughter laid on the floor for 7 hours before somebody in that house recognized that something was wrong. And that career criminal, an hour later, went on a spending spree with her debit card. When they saw his face on a video, they didn't have to do a check. He was arrested so many times, they knew who he was. They knew exactly where to go get him. Pathetic. Absolutely pathetic that I'm here today. Thank you for your time.
Very powerful testimony. It's an absolutely horrific situation, but the strength of him to muster, to go up there and give these people what they deserve for failing America collectively, him particularly, his daughter especially, but America collectively, through their despicable policies, their focus on restorative justice, placing the interests of these violent criminal felons over innocent young Americans, leaving these innocent Americans at the mercy of these psychotic criminals who simply have none. But an amazing testimony, truly. And it's great to see because often the parents of violent crime victims like this, especially interracial crime, black on white crime, which we see very frequently these days, often these parents are sought after by feds to tell them to, calm down, emphasize forgiveness, don't cause a ruckus about this type of thing. We can't have that. It's going to cause problems. There's training that these victims' parents often go through, family members that they go through, to tell them to ease up. When you give interviews, don't get too angry. Don't get divisive. This is the type of stuff that happens. We saw with Austin Metcalf's dad a couple months ago when that young man was stabbed at a school track meet. I believe it was a track meet. And the father goes out there and before any justice has been served, the killer, forget his name now, but the despicable piece of garbage who's practically free now, raised $500,000 from people who supported his anti-white hate crime. Justice hasn't even been served yet. And he's out there saying, oh, I forgive the killer. There's nothing, it's an unfortunate, it's a tragic situation. No, I much prefer much prefer how Logan's father reacted. We all need to be looking at this situation with righteous indignation, righteous anger, because no other way of looking at this is going to stop it. We all need to join this father in his fight, his campaign, to simply change things, to find justice, to hold these elected officials accountable, and change laws, change policy to ensure that psychos like Dicki aren't allowed back on our streets, that we can live in a safe and prosperous society where people like Logan can go visit friends without fear. Absolutely insane. And these people, these leftists, these local politicians, the district attorneys, whatever, they're all complicit in it. Blood's on their hands, whether we want to admit that or not. But we all need to look back in anger at these types of attacks, these types of crimes. And it's such a shame that it happens in places like South Carolina. Like, that's a red state. We should be doing better. Of course, the criminal was let out by the North Carolina justice system. And North Carolina, while it did vote for Trump, is ran by a Democrat governor. And Charlotte and other major cities are ran by Democrat mayors and horrible leftist people who love criminals. They simply love crime. That's their base constituency, is psycho criminals like Alexander Dicki. But I live in Georgia, for example. It's a red state. We've got a red governor. We've got red legislature. But we've got a city like Atlanta. It's got one of the worst crime rates in the country, probably in the world. Why do we allow murders every weekend? Why do we allow violent crimes every weekend? Sure, the city's blue. The city's got blue leadership. But the state has power. Why are our elected officials such cowards that they don't crack down? Say, we're not going to tolerate this. You don't need to call in the National Guard. You don't need Trump to do the work. These Republican governors can take care of it, but they simply don't. Why? I would say probably because there aren't enough people like Steve Federico pressuring them, showing them righteous anger, and we all need to be more like him. Poor man suffered unbelievably, but goes out there and fights for what's right, using that anger and using the yearning for justice. Anyways, with that, thank you so much for watching. This has been Trending Politics, and my name is Blake Cresses. I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.